if you had to delineate where, say, you and President Trump differ on issues, where would you start?
Well, first, let's say in reference to Whoopi, you know, the thought of me getting into the race makes the liberals' heads explode. And so I welcome it because it shows we're doing something right. You know, when it comes to what we're looking at now, listen to the first 20 minutes of your show. Look at everything that's wrong in this country and tell me we don't need new leadership. But the difference is we need new generational leadership. We have to leave the status quo. We have to leave this chaos behind, and we've got to start talking about the future. You need a Washington outsider that's going to come in and say, yes, I understand that families are having to pay more to make their grocery bill. I understand that they are worried about their children who may never get back from what they lost during COVID. I understand the fact that when someone's factory leaves town, he's worried that his future went with it. I understand that you should not have Americans looking up at the sky and seeing a Chinese spy balloon looking back at them. This is insanity.
You know what's insane is that Nikki Haley is running for president and for some reason doesn't want to say anything about these policy differences that she has with the former president, Donald Trump, a president that she was in his administration that he brought in there and raised, I guess, a bit of her political stock. And now she's running. But again, what's that difference? Did you guys see anything about a difference? Sean Hannity, oddly, very specifically asked, policy-wise, what is the difference? We need to determine which one of you two that we're looking to support. So maybe she got into some policies that she had differences with. That was the first half of her answer. This is the back end. Listen for policies.
And what we need are a lot of changes. First of all, we've got too many politicians in D.C. that are past their prime. We have to have term limits in Congress. We need to see competency tests for any elected official over the age of 75. We've got to stop the spending addiction that is happening, that is causing inflation to go up. And we need to start realizing that we don't need our politicians getting on TV and talking. We need the people in D.C. doing, and we need to spark a fire up under them. And that's what I'm willing to do. And if you are tired of losing, because we've lost the last 7 out of 8 popular votes for president, we're doing something wrong. If you're tired of losing, then join me and go to NikkiHaley.com because we are going to go and fight for a strong and proud America again.
And ended with a smile. Go to my website. This is the standard approach to when you're running for office, you get on TV, start promoting the website. I want you guys to listen. This is one of the things I've listened to a million politicians over the 20 years I've been at this network. And I tell you what they start doing is you hear when their consultants and then the campaign organizers and leaders all start telling them what to say and how to say it. It becomes repetitive. You'll hear it over and over again. How many times are you gonna hear NikkiHaley.com? I promise a billion times because they need the money. Or outside of the corporate money that, of course, they're getting from this. But did you hear any differences there? I wrote a few things down. She said those libs and those problems there, this is off the top. The libs and the problems there. She needs a Washington outsider. Sounds a lot like the way Trump was talking, even though he was a part of the swamp. Whoopi Goldberg, for some reason, I don't know, they were talking about her before. And also too many politicians past their prime, spending addictions into inflation, lies about how that worked. She's the same person because she's looking to get those same voters. Still, Sean Hannity, he tried again, and he pointed out, you ain't answered my question, bruh. Listen to him ask her again.
Let me go back to my original question, though, because anybody that is looking or seeking a nomination, you're going to be comparing and contrasting your policy positions, your views, what direction you want to take the country with your competitors. Right now, there's former President Trump is the only other candidate. Where do you see, if you see, policy differences beyond what you mentioned, which are generational differences? What specific policy areas would you say part with Donald Trump?
What I am saying is I don't kick sideways. I'm kicking forward. Joe Biden is the president. He's the one I'm running against. And what I'm saying is you don't have to be 80 years old to be president. We don't need to have these same people going back again. We need something new. I'm not going to kick sideways. I don't have time for that. That's not my focus. I'm kicking forward. It's all about Joe Biden, and it's all about the people in America winning again. And that's why we want everybody to go to NikkiHaley.com, because we're in this to win it.
Did you hear it again? Go to NikkiHaley.com, NikkiHaley.com, LindseyGraham.com, HerschelWalker.com, NikkiHaley.com, NikkiHaley.com, in case you hadn't heard it yet. NikkiHaley.com, that's what I'm here to talk about, Sean. Nothing about policy differences. So she took off from Hannity's show, had a nice restful sleep, got up bright and early in the morning, went to Fox and Friends, and I think Sean Hannity must have sent an email or something, and he asked them, hey, can you guys ask her what policy differences she has between herself and Donald F. and Trump? So Fox and Friends asked her too the next day. Watch.
I know you were on last night with Sean, and he was asking you how you differentiate yourself from Donald Trump. And you said originally that you had called him to ask his, not permission, but just to tell him you're going to run. And he did give you his blessing. I know he's your friend. He appointed you to UN ambassadorship. How do you balance that? How do you handle it? And what are you going to say when the left says, because they are saying this already when you flip around to other channels, or even, when we interview Democrats on this channel, they say you flip-flop. 1 minute you're friends with Donald Trump, the next minute you're not. How do you answer that?
Well, first of all, President Trump is my friend. I was honored to work with him in the administration. I thought he was the right president at the right time, and that remains to be the truth. But I'm not kicking sideways in this race. I'm kicking forward. It is Joe Biden who's the president. It's Joe Biden who's put us in this situation.
Have you heard any more repeated lines like, I'm not kicking sideways, I'm kicking forward? And as well, in her campaign announcement, she has apparently heels that hurt when you kick. I guess lucky for Donald Trump, she's not kicking sideways on this. Yes, does she have a chance here? Because I think she could have, but I'm curious what you think.
You do? You think she has a chance?
Well, not right now.
I think I said this on another show, but who is Nikki Haley's target demographic? Who are the people who are rooting for her? Who even asked her to run in the first place? And whose head honestly exploded when they heard that she was running? Not mine. But, she does do a good job at the whole politician thing where she says a lot, but doesn't really say anything at all. And Republicans aren't exactly known for having plans or policies to back up any of their rhetoric. But to their defense, their voters don't really seem to ask for them either. They're still going to vote for whoever they're going to vote for. And I like that you brought up the repetition thing, because that is a thing that we saw somebody like Donald Trump use over and over and over again. He still uses it. He just keeps repeating the same thing over and over and over again. But the thing that stood out to me with Nikki Haley is her positioning herself as a Washington outsider. I think that's funny. If she's an outsider, it's in spite of her best efforts to be in the room where it happens, right? She was the governor of South Carolina, which is technically outside of Washington, sure. But then she was Trump's UN ambassador. She was weighing in on everything from Russian sanctions to the Iran nuclear deal to moving the Israeli embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And they're right on Fox News when they said that she flip-flopped, specifically in regards to her feelings for Trump. She's done it a few times, going from disavowing him completely to defending him. Now she's saying that she's friends with him. She also said that she wouldn't run against him for president, but she's doing that now.
And by the way, I think she can, it's fine to, I guess to renege on her promise to him to not run for president. That's just politics, bro. But again, that's gonna be the sticking point because of the way these loyalists of Trump and MAGA feel about it. Like, how dare you trick my president and tell him that you're not gonna pursue your political goals? Everyone knows that that's what folks are gonna do when they're into politics. But did you also notice one thing? I want to point out this last thing when it came to the Fox and Friends question from Ainsley Earhart there. She wants to ask, Ainsley does, you sound just like Trump. Where's the differences? What's going on differently? You keep flip-flopping on whether or not you love or hate the guy. And she posed it as, well, we have politicians on, sometimes even Democrats come on and say that you're flip-flopping. And some Democrats and media types outside of Fox News like to say this. Yo, just ask the question. You can say you're curious to figure out why she says one thing and then 5 days later says something else. It's okay, but they have to blame it on someone else. Again, so those same loyal viewers don't look up and go, why is Ainsley asking such tough questions? This is supposed to be softball Fox. Instead, you have to put it on someone else.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think that that's a big difference, a notable difference between media on the left versus media on the right. I think that even voters, right, shouldn't just say media, but I think people do want, on the left, they want some accountability for the people that they're voting for and the people that they're endorsing. Whereas on the right, they just seem to want to be able to celebrate these people and push forward an agenda, get the right people in the seats without much regard for who they actually are.